Well, we're just 48 hours away from the start of the race, which will be a prologue time trial, hosted here in the city of Sacramento, with one team left to come on. And in saying thanks to both the city and the county of Sacramento for making it possible to start the long trek south from here this year, fittingly the state capital, we welcome a number of dignitaries to bring on the last team. Now, we haven't necessarily saved the best till last. It's just they have some big riders on the squad, but they also have the man that's won this race for the last 2 years. I'm talking about Team Astana. Oh dear. The members from the County of Sacramento, Susan Peters; from the city, the Vice Mayor, Lauren Hammond; and also accompanying John McCasey, Steve Hammond, Rick Brazil, and David Jones. Levi Leipheimer, the winner for the last 2 years. And of course, he lives just down the road. Lance Armstrong, apparently a 7-time Tour de France winner. Janez Brakovic from Slovenia, the Tour of Georgia champion in 2007. Chris Horner, the Tour of Georgia champion in 2003. Steve Morabito of Switzerland. Yaroslav Popovic of the Ukraine, a Tour de France stage winner. Jose Luis Rubiera of Spain. And Gregory Rast of Switzerland, led on by the great riders of Vyacheslav Yekimov and Sean Yates. Team Astana.
I have to say, I don't think this team needs very much introduction, but I would like to, first of all, start by asking Levi Leipheimer, the winner of the last 2 editions of this event, who's the guy on the right-hand side?
Way down there?
No, a little bit closer.
Oh, yeah, this is a new guy we got this year. We found him in our recruiting program.
Down in Texas.
You might have, yeah, down in Texas, you might have heard of him, Lance Armstrong.
Levi, this race has gone on from strength to strength since it started 4 years ago, and it's a race really that you have pretty much dedicated yourself to, but it's difficult, isn't it, to be on form at the very start of the year, especially when you know you've got objectives later on in the season in the month of July.
You know, it is and it isn't. I mean, it's difficult being the first race, and it's hard to train yourself into that shape, but then again, I mean, it gives me that motivation throughout the winter, and it gives me that goal. And I love it.
And a little bit special this year, I think everybody knows, we were down in Australia just about 2 weeks ago, and we saw this young man coming back into the sport. The crowds were absolutely fantastic. They were ballistic to see that Lance Armstrong had made a comeback to the sport. Do you think we're going to see the same thing here in California?
Well, as you've seen, the first 3 years was really amazing, the amount of people that came out to see it. But this year, with Lance back, it's going to be off the hook. It's going to be crazy.
I'm pretty sure it is going to be very crazy. Good luck, because trying to win your 3rd race, you may well find the rival comes from inside your own team. Lance, great to have you back. And you don't seem to have got too much jet lag coming back from Australia.
I got to tell, well, it's been about 3 weeks, Paul.
Well, you came back a little bit quicker than most of us, because I noticed you weren't twittering for about 8 hours on the way to Honolulu. So you got out of Australia a lot quicker than the rest of us.
Yeah, we got out of there quick. But anyways,
took me 42 hours to get home to Uganda.
that was definitely the worst jet lag I've ever experienced, though, I must say. But anyways, we're here and feel good. The team looks strong, and this is going to be interesting. I've only experienced the Tour of California from the car, and so this will be a completely different view.
Whatever happened in your career and 7 great Tour de France victories, whenever you came back to the United States to race, it was always a big buzz, wasn't it? You always enjoyed, and I presume you're always going to enjoy racing on home turf.
You know, going all the way back, I mean, I remember doing, back in the day we had the Tour DuPont in the early 90s and even through the mid-90s when I was a professional with Motorola, and in the last few years and in the early 2000s doing races like Tour of Georgia, and even just going back to this state of racing in the late 80s, early 90s when I first sort of turned pro and doing the races in and around California, it's always been special. So it's, you know, you take an American and you put them in France, or you put them in Italy, or you put them in Australia, and it's, I think the motivation, while it's always there, it certainly dips a little, or the other guy's motivation rises a little. So now we get that experience of racing on home soil, racing in front of a home crowd, and I think it excites all of us, especially this guy here that we found in Montana over there that's won the race a few times.
Lance, the comeback, Lance, is really very special because I think you are linking yourself here with the AMGEN Tour of California, the Live Strong message, the breaking away from cancer message here at the Tour of California. You saw how successful that message was received in Australia. And I think you walked away with great souvenirs, and that's the kind of thing that you want from the second part of your career, isn't it?
It is. As I've said many, many times, I mean, I have a passion for cycling, so I want to come out and race. I want to train on a daily basis and be somewhat competitive, or as competitive as I can be. But the main reason that I'm here, and the main reason that my foundation is represented here, is this fight against cancer. And quite frankly, it's going to require a team effort. And if it's an effort between my foundation or AMGEN or countries like Australia or states like California, this is truly an epidemic that touches everybody. So, complicated problem, not going to be solved overnight, but it's important that we stay tough and we stay consistent. And of course, as we all know now, everybody is stressed a little bit about the economic situation, and everybody's vying for attention. Cancer's no different. But at the end of the day, this disease will kill 1,500 Americans today. It will kill 1,500 tomorrow, and 1,500 the next day. It'll continue on. So we have to stay strong.
Lance, just before I let you go, a lot of the people in this room, they may not have followed the Tour Down Under in Australia. They may not have even seen the bicycle that you ride. A very powerful message on your bicycle, which came across to me in Australia. Will you just explain to the people, if they get a chance to see your bike, the two numbers that are written on your bicycle frame?
So that bike, I'll ride that bike again here in the Tour of California, and also the time trial bike will be painted the very same way. So on the bike you'll see, which in the beginning nobody understood what it was, but you'll see 1,274, which is the amount of days that I was off the bike as a professional cyclist. Now that number is about 10, but in Australia it was 1,274, and then there's another number of 27.5, and that stands for 27.5 million people died around the world from the disease in 1,274 days. So if you consider that's nearly the population of California in just 3.5 years, and it's worth reminding ourselves of how massive that is, and as I said, we've just got to stay focused, and ultimately this disease will go away in our lifetime.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the team that we all want to win the AMGEN Tour of California for a third time. Levi Leipheimer, Lance Armstrong, and the rest of his crew. They will be looking to fight over the next 10 days and show just how good they are, and to take that message out to the world. Guys, good luck.
This way.